morning and welcome back to Worthwhile. I am always so glad to have you. Thank you for being here, and I hope that you find this very practical episode helpful. Of course, I'm Angela Kezar. Thank you for joining me. So, I wanted to talk today about having a good, solid reset day. When as a mom, you have times where life gets totally upended and busy, and all the routines sort of go flying out the window. We love to embrace those times. I'm all about it. It's just a different angle of doing the same work we're doing on the day to day, and we're quite familiar with life and fun, changing things up and being flexible with it all. Those are some of our favorite days, the times that are just off and fun and you decide to do something different. And it could be sometimes we just get thrown off by like sickness or just a different routine or a move or a new baby or just different things. And when those happen, things can get wild. And I usually find that once we're back and everything's settled, it can take its toll on attitudes and discipline and order of the house and those things that are like the walls. And you can feel it almost immediately. You know when it happens. And so we recently had a week that was all thrown off, and it was totally, totally worth it. It was great. And I love having the freedom and ability to be flexible and truly enjoy those times. We had company come in and stay with us. So the kids were doing what the kids were doing. They were just playing the entire time, and the grown-ups are having a hangout time and chatting and all of these things. And that's great. And that is totally what they should be doing. And we should let that have some looseness to it. And I would say my little kids, who are sort of those middle ages, can go about 4 days maybe of sort of loose chaos before I notice that some of our basics and attitudes get a bit wonky and need a reset. That's about our limit over here. So, what I did this time, and I've done this many times in slightly different ways over the years, but I do come back to it pretty regularly, is when I've noticed that someone or all of us needs that extra focused attention. We have what I just call a stay with mom reset day. And this has become one of my go-to tools. And basically, it is exactly what you might expect. The kids have to stay with me, where we can work together and I can identify and sort out problems much more easily and clearly because we're all side by side and involved in the same thing. I started this particular day off with just a little fun, just a little note card that gave each child a special strength that I'd be watching for that day. And this was actually really fun. It set the mood that this is not mom being grumpy by having a day like this, but this is fun. We're in it together and it's going to be a good time. And because our mood as mom is matched by everyone. If we go into those type of days thinking we're all thrown off and this is the worst, they too will mimic exactly what we show them. But if we approach it with composure and self-control and a plan, I have found that that is a much more effective way to wrangle things back in. So for this little part that I want to jump in on, this was new. I hadn't done this part before. But so I made these little note cards. It was just an index card and I just wrote on the back of it. But one of them was that I wanted this person to be a defender of siblings and their projects. And this was for a child that had been leaning into, the struggle of sort of pushing type things or knocking down other people's projects or not noticing they had or things like that. So it was just a really clear, this is what I want you to do. Another, I think, was reminded, this one was funny, that floors are where we play and that furniture is uniquely designed for sitting and snuggling on. They were light and focused and they were said with a big smile and the kids got a kick out of it. And just reminders of things that we do talk about a lot. Like none of this was new to the expectations of our home. But instead of kicking off the day that they're going to spend the whole day with me with a lecture on don't do this and don't do that, each child had a solid handle on one thing I did want to see in them. And it was well received that they were reminded that mom is on my team. She's building me up. This is a good thing. She's seeing what we're aiming for in this. And I think it was just more encouraging for the kids than me constantly nagging them over the things I already knew and anticipated were going to be temptations or struggles. So it was given with a smile, and it's a fun way to mix it up. Okay. So that was different. That was new. I hadn't always done that, but I did think it was a fun idea. The next part of this is critical for getting back on the rails quickly when you notice your family has slipped off. This is the part that really makes the whole thing work effectively. I reorganize the day so that we are together all day. My children usually have quite a bit of freedom to play in the yard together or be off doing stuff, building stuff while I work and do chores. But on this day, we stuck together with me within proximity to quickly and fairly address anything that comes up. Just even something as simple as I needed to go print something off in the office, and rather than just have them sit at a table waiting with nothing to do other than start up bickering or something that could have just been nothing, it was just simpler to bring them with me and say, hey, let's go print this off. Come with me. And they could do that. Oftentimes I lean into those. Oftentimes I think that's great. They need to just work through that. But on a reset day, I find that it is most effective to bring them right along so that I can be quick, super quick to be involved if there is even, the slightest bump, and just remind them of how we do things and bring them along with me. So here's another example. This one cracked me up, and I knew I had to tell it on here. So during the course of the day, of course, we need to take a break. They want to go outside, and they needed to go outside and stretch their legs and get some fresh air. So I go out with them. We all go out together. And so I have one child on we call it the Gator, but it's like a little ride-along car, that they can drive with 2 seats in it. So they're parked and waiting for the other siblings. And then another child comes up on like a lowrider bike wiggle thing and just, I don't know, just doesn't notice and runs into the side of the Gator and hits it and scrapes their leg. And then immediately turns around, starts being sad, comes to me, and the story is, that person hit me with the Gator and it hurt my leg. And it was so good and efficient and just wonderful to be able to look at them and say, you know what? Actually, I just watched it. They did not hit you with the Gator. Sorry, buddy, but you just ran right into it. And are you okay? And it just cuts off all of it cuts off any room for the excuses or the finger pointing or having to sort through who did what or who said what or who's telling me the whole story or is there an angle from this. It just really brings it in super tight. And I think that is just so helpful on those days to be able to really see what's going on and to get everybody back on track. The whole day ends up being full of joy and fun and a ton of good conversation. And usually a day or two of this can put us right back into remembering how we treat people, how we speak, and all of that. It comes back super quickly. And this doesn't have to be something that you only do after things are really thrown off. Like if you just feel like we need to really tighten up on a couple things, I find that the best way to do that is just bring them in, like proximity wise, a little closer so that you're more involved in knowing what's going on and seeing motives and being able to work through that rather than when you have a lot of kids doing a lot of different things at the same time. It can really be difficult to know really what happened. And then the other thing, the other huge part I think helps reset everything so quick is that there's no part of the day where I'm stuck with a bunch of work on my own while they're off doing something else that's making a new, different mess or situation. So they stick with me, and all day we're doing something productive. And even the parts where they go outside or are playing, I'm very engaged. Like I'll bring a book outside and sit and watch closely, or I'll just sit and chat with them, and I'm with them all day, and I'm not on my phone. That is really important. If I am, it's super brief and focused. So I have noticed that these days are actually oddly productive because there's really zero friction since all issues are addressed while they're really small and it's super quick. There's no time wasted on wondering or sorting it out or, putting the puzzle pieces. I'm focused and diligent to be effective with our time since I'll get to that when they go play. We just jump in. Many hands make light work of a house that's behind, and we all get to enjoy a pretty peaceful, productive day. The other thing is that it also really prevents boredom that I find can pop up when we're out of rhythm, or especially like if the house is messy. I feel like people just are not motivated to want to do something, which I totally get. So I'll just think of something that they can do within proximity to me. So maybe it's like, okay, you go grab a book and read me a chapter, or why don't you grab a puzzle? Or it doesn't even have to be something quiet like that. It can be like, okay, you're going to do this game, or we'll go outside, and maybe just because I'm more available and with them in a different way, there's a lot more room for somebody might just think of an idea of, hey, mom, can we all play Mother May I? And it's a great opportunity to just say, yes, let's do that. That's a good idea. All of us will do it together. And it makes it super fun. And all of this is in opposition to getting thrown off and then trying to reset the house so that things can be peaceful, while also the kids are super needy and have forgotten entirely how we behave. And all of that can make for a really chaotic and ineffective day in every category. And usually I've found results in a very stressed and irritated mom, and also not a cleaner house or happier children. It effectively manages to accomplish nothing, to just try to regain momentum that you've lost. It, at least in our home, it does not seem to be an effective strategy. So this is a great way, as we all get into spring and heading into summer, to enjoy the times where routines fall away, notice once they have, then do a reset day or a couple, or even just a couple hours, and get back on track. This can also be helpful with littles when they're just doing what littles do, and some days they wake up on the struggle bus, or they're growing and things are changing and it's just tough. Just get them right next to you and keep them cheerfully chugging along. It's simple, but it's been a really effective tool in our home. So enjoy the full, busy, memory-filled seasons when they come. Don't be afraid of being flexible. Lean into it. Enjoy that wholeheartedly. But when you start to see things slipping, step in early, bring your children close, and reset together. It's been a really effective tool in our home. Oh, and I just thought of one more thing. This can also be really a useful tool. Like I've used it when we are a guest somewhere. I have used this. If I notice that all of a sudden it's late, we are a guest in someone's home, I'm having to step out to handle issues, I'll bring the kids closer so that I can keep a very close eye on what's going on. And just that one simple movement of bringing them within proximity is almost always enough to be able to address things so quickly that there's really not a lot of problems. Or if they are, you can fully address it rather than let it grow into something else. Okay, now I told you I would share a recipe. So this week it is, bear with me, Orecchiette Carbonara. I don't know if I said that right. And if you if you can picture what I'm talking about, that probably means you've made it. And I have no comparison to what it's supposed to be like. But it was really good. We loved it. And you probably don't have to use the same pasta. That's the orecchiette noodles. But the recipe said this shape of pasta holds the sauce like a little bowl, and it totally does. It looks, I mean, they're little, but they're like little bowl-shaped noodles, and it was so good. But it was super simple. So Italian sausage, cooked that up, just crumbled it, and then cooked the pasta in regular salted water. Then the last probably 2 minutes, I threw in a bunch of broccoli so it blanches with the pasta. Put it in the pasta water, the hot pasta water while it's boiling. And then you just drain it when you drain the pasta. And then it's cooked. It's done. It's perfect. Then the sauce. I had never done this before, but you basically just whisk up a few eggs, mix it with some shredded Parmesan, and then like freshly shredded Parmesan. And then when your pasta is drained, immediately toss the super hot pasta in with the egg mixture, and it becomes this super silky, delicious sauce. It was super good. So good. Then add in your sausage, and the broccoli should be in there with the pasta noodles. And it was great. I'll post a picture. Let me know if you try it. Well, that is all for today. Thank you so much for being here with me. I am always so grateful that you would spend this time listening, and I'll see you back here next time. Blessings on your week.